Very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us for this special media briefing on the forthcoming visit of His Majesty, the King of Cambodia. To give us a sense of the visit and what we expect, we have the privilege of having with us here on the dais Sri Saurabh Kumar, Secretary East in the Ministry of External Affairs, as well as Sri Ravi Shankar, Additional Secretary in the Southern, looking after the Southern Division in the Ministry of External Affairs. Sir, if you would like to make some opening remarks, and then we can take a few questions.
Welcome and namaskar to all of you. Uh, His Majesty Norodom Sihamoni, the King of Cambodia, will pay his maiden visit to India from 29 to 31st of December 2023.
Amazing.
29 to 31st of May 2023. He will be accompanied by a 27-member high-level delegation, including Minister of Royal Palace, Vice President of the Senate, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and other senior officials from the Royal Palace and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The state visit will coincide with the culmination of celebrations to mark the 70th anniversary of diplomatic relations between India and Cambodia, which were established in 1952. A state visit to India by the King of Cambodia is taking place after almost 6 decades, with the last one being that of current king's father, King Norodom Sihanouk, in 1963. The last visit to Cambodia by the President of India was that of President Srimati Pratibha Patil in 2010. President Rajendra Prasad had visited Cambodia in 1959. The visit will commence in the morning on 30th May 2023 with the ceremonial guard of honor for His Majesty at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. He would then visit Rajghat to pay floral tributes there. His Majesty will meet the President, Vice President, and Prime Minister, and External Affairs Minister will call on him. President will host a banquet in honor of the King at Rashtrapati Bhavan. I'll give you a brief background about our relations with Cambodia. Historically, India and Cambodia relations have their roots in Hindu and Buddhist cultural influences which emanated from India. These historical links continue to provide a strong foundation to our contemporary ties. India established diplomatic relations with Cambodia in 1952. After the fall of Khmer Rouge regime, India was the first democratic country to recognize the new government in Cambodia and reopened its diplomatic mission in 1981. India also played an active and positive role in the finalization of the Paris Peace Accords of 1991 and contributed towards the conduct of UN Transitional Authority in Cambodia, or UNTAC, sponsored elections in 1993. This contribution of India is appreciated and remembered in Cambodia even today. Cambodia is an important interlocutor in the context of our Act East policy, the ASEAN, and Mekong Ganga cooperation. Cambodia hosted the first India ASEAN summit in 2002 when it held the chair of ASEAN. In 2022, again during the Cambodian chair of ASEAN, the ASEAN-India relations were elevated to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Let me give you a sense of some of the specific areas of cooperation. An important area is conservation and restoration of ancient temples in Cambodia by India. Since 1986, India, through the Archaeological Survey of India, has been engaged in conservation and restoration of ancient temples in Cambodia. Uh, in late 80s and early 90s, restoration work was carried out on Angkor Wat. Restoration of Taprom temple has completed phases, while the third phase of work is underway. Last year, restoration work commenced on Previhar, a World Heritage Site and one of the oldest temples of Lord Shiva. Uh, Human resource development and capacity building is another important area of our engagement with Cambodia. India is actively assisting Cambodia in capacity building and human resource development through training slots under ITEC program and ICCR scholarships. More than 2,200 Cambodian nationals have been imparted training under ITEC program since 1981. 30 ICCR scholarships are available to Cambodian students on an annual basis. Uh, lines of credit and around lines of credit of around US dollar 100 million have been extended to Cambodia for projects in infrastructure, water, resources, and power transmission lines, amongst others. Cambodia has benefited from 48 quick impact projects targeted towards local communities in areas such as education, health, sanitation, ecotourism, and infrastructure. 31 of these have been completed, and 17 of these projects are under implementation. Let me also touch upon defense and demining cooperation, which we have with Cambodia. Uh, this includes training courses for Royal Cambodian Armed Forces, training in demining and peacekeeping modules, providing demining equipment, as well as goodwill visits by Indian Navy and Coast Guard ships and exchange of official delegations. India has extended a grant of US dollar 1.5 million for procurement of demining equipment, gifted sniffer dogs, and offered a US dollar 50 million line of credit for capacity building and other related works for the Royal Cambodian Armed Forces. Customized training courses for more than 80 Cambodian armed personnel will be held this year in different areas. The first army to army staff talks between India and Cambodia were conducted in April 2023. Lieutenant General Hun Manit, who is the commander of the Royal Cambodian Army, visited India in February this year. India and Cambodia trade is around US dollar 320 million, with Indian exports of US dollar 198 million and imports from Cambodia at US dollar 122 million. Cumulative investments from India in Cambodia are estimated at US dollar 115 million, primarily in pharmaceuticals, two and three wheelers, and some in the area of mining. Cambodia has been supportive of India in international fora. It has joined the International Solar Alliance. A delegation from Cambodia recently participated in the launch of the International Big Cat Alliance. In January 2023, Prime Minister Hun Sen attended the inaugural leaders session of the Voice of the Global South Summit, which was hosted virtually by the Honorable Prime Minister. Uh, Let me conclude by saying that the visit of His Majesty the King will be an important will be an opportunity to consolidate and strengthen our relations. The visit has a strong symbolic value, coming as it does on the 70th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries. It would also contribute to our efforts to add greater content to our trade, economic, defense, culture, and people to people ties. Interaction at top political levels provide a momentum to relations, and the visit of His Majesty would also do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And before I open the floor for questions, please introduce yourself and the organization that you represent. I'm going to start with you. Okay. Okay. Microphone here, please. Okay. He's taking the mic. I thought you were busy. Go ahead. Just 1 second.
Hi, sir. Rishikesh from PTI. Is there any plan to give the tiger to Cambodia? Plan to?
Tiger to Cambodia. Okay. 1 second. 1 second.
So I'm Meghna Dev from DD News. I have an additional question to that. India and Cambodia signed the MOU with focus on tiger reintroduction in Cambodia. Will this be discussed, and is any translocation likely on the cards in the near future?
Yeah. Go ahead, Shashank.
So Shashank Mattu with the Mint. So the defense relationship with Cambodia has deepened a deal in the last few years. We provided them some demining equipment. We've also had the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh also met the commander of the Royal Cambodian Army. Is there anything planned for the deepening of the defense relationship and additional equipment that India might be interested in providing to Cambodia during this visit? Thank you.
So let me pass on these three questions. Yes.
Rishikesh, and your question, I'll take them together. So it is true that the memorandum of understanding uh, uh, in this particular area was signed between India and Cambodia. This is an area on which we are having discussions, and during the current visit, we expect that the entire gamut of our relationship would be discussed between the king and his interlocutors when the conversations take place. Uh, uh, Muthu, as far as the defense relationship is concerned, I just mentioned in my opening remarks that our defense engagement with Cambodia is increasing. You are aware that General Hun Manet visited the country. This was a very significant visit. We plan to have a very specific number of training slots this particular year to be provided to the Cambodian side. Earlier this year, uh, yeah, earlier this year, the Army to Army staff talks took place. This was the first staff talks between the armies of the two countries. We have a 50 million line of credit which has been extended to the Cambodian side. Uh, uh, and how it is to be utilized is something which is being discussed. So we have on the defense side, our relationship is growing, and we would be working more in this particular area also.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Please.
Sir, clarification.
Prinja.
Just a clarification, sir. Just recently, there were these exercises between the Indian Navy and ASEAN navies. Can you tell us a little about the Cambodian input in this?
You have another question? Okay. Shashank, go ahead.
So again, Shashank Mattu with the Mint. So the bilateral trade and economic relationship with Cambodia has been, as compared to some of our other relationships, slightly underdeveloped. Is there a sense of any trade facilitation agreements or economic agreements that both sides have planned to make sure that investment from India into Cambodia increases and more trade can flow across borders?
Yeah, go ahead. The mic's right next to you.
Yeah. So Sridhar from the Asian Age. So Cambodia was viewed as perhaps the ASEAN nation closest to China in terms of its relationship. Considering that we are now stepping up the defense ties, is it an attempt to sort of balance out the ties? How would you look at it? Thank you.
Okay, sir. We'll close with that, sir.
You're right that we had the first India-ASEAN maritime exercise, which was held some time back, and Cambodia, being a part of the ASEAN, was very much a part of this particular event. As far as trade is concerned, our trade has been growing with Cambodia over the last couple of years. While there is no agreement which would be signed during this particular visit, our effort is yeah our effort is to see the steps which need to be taken to enhance our trade and investment ties. And in fact, a bilateral investment agreement is presently being discussed with Cambodia, as we are discussing it with many other uh, countries. Shidhar, as you mentioned about uh, Cambodia's relationship with China, we do not look at our relationship with Cambodia through the prism of Cambodia's relationship with any other country. Our relationship with Cambodia stands on its own feet. It is, as I have mentioned, strengthening and diversifying, and it is our effort to see that different areas of our engagement with Cambodia further grow. And our relationship with Cambodia through the prism of Cambodia's relationship with any other country. Our relationship with Cambodia stands on its own feet. It is, as I have mentioned, strengthening and diversifying, and it is our effort to see that different areas of our engagement with Cambodia further grow and strengthen.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you also to Sri Ravi Shankar for joining us today. The visit's from Monday, and today we'll issue a formal press release a little later to announce the visit. Thank you.